The association Ville Venete was born in the year 1979, so it's got more than 40 years now. And it puts together the owners, but not only owners, also experts with regard to Venetian villas. And actually, Venetian villas, Ville Venete, is a heritage of really inestimable value. It is a very refined, a very extensive cultural assets. And you have to consider that there are, as a whole, 4,300 Venetian villas, which were built during the 15th through the 18th century. There are two regions where you can find Venetian villas. Actually, one is Veneto, or the area around Venice, and the second region is Friuli, so that's northern compared to Veneto. So there are 85% villas in the Veneto region and 15% in the Friuli-Venezia Giulia region. So it's really an extraordinary architecture. And just to have an idea of what they look like, you have to think about Palladio. Of course, not all those villas were made by such a famous architect as Palladio or other architects like him. And actually, there are fresco cycles, there are beautiful gardens, there are parks with luxuriant vegetation. And the association, so I told you, was born in 1979. And so it's made up by both private and public owners, and there are also experts in the sector of restorations and many other things. But actually, there are about 400 members. So we talk about members. We don't talk about houses, but we rather talk about members. So that's the way our organization is conceived. And actually we have a permanent dialogue with about 1,100 villas through newsletters, through our social platforms. And actually what's interesting is to know that our association is the most representative among the Ville Venete owners associations, because there are quite a few associations, but actually ours is recognized as the most important. And actually it also enjoys an official representation in the regional cultural council and in the Ville Venete Regional Institute, which is something very important. And actually I personally sit as one of the members of the managing board. What I try to do is to think of initiatives I can offer to the members of the association. I try and coordinate those initiatives and those activities. I try to contact and develop projects at institutional level, because actually we are a small organization, but we are very quick in reacting. And so actually we understand that we have something more compared to the institutions. Institutions decide, they take their time, but actually when it comes to practical action, it gets very difficult for them. And so what I do is I just propose the services of the organization to help implement some of the initiatives we might take together, so with institutions. And I think that's a very, very important role. And then, of course, if we want to make villas known to the public at large, we want them to know that they are not only museums, but that there's life, as I was saying before. And I think that acting this way, we can create what I hope is a sort of awareness that our villas represent our past, but also represent our future. Private owners are very often, in most of cases, unable to stand up to the cost of managing a villa. There should be fiscal, political, economic measures in order to help those owners. I'm not saying give them money, give owners money. No, that's not the point. But for example, there can be some fiscal measures whereby the income of a villa is, instead of paying taxes on that, can be reinvested in the villa itself. I think that it is especially important to be in a group of peers. I think that once you are in a group of peers, and in this case, that's private heritage owners, when you're there, what you do is that you gain knowledge. You gain knowledge from the others, from the experts the HHH is working with. You can develop together new ideas. There's a brainstorming with colleagues or with people who have exactly the same problems as you have. And actually this common experience can be really mutually beneficial for everybody. You can receive some feedback to understand how to manage certain problems or certain situations which are complicated. You can find out other organizations' work and business model. And of course, that's a form of, that helps you. It enriches your experience, and it's absolutely necessary. So I really believe that it's all very, very important. You can, for example, something very important I liked very much is that I understand perfectly well that the EHH is an association of associations of organizations, so not of people, but actually associations. But what I liked very much is the fact that the only exception which is made to this rule concerns young people. That's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. So young people get to know each other. They discover other countries. They start creating a network which will be very, very useful for all of them, and actually also for our heritage houses. And actually, what is also very important is to share best practices, fundamental. And actually, I was lucky enough because I took part in the mock of the Heritage project. And actually, it's an online training which helped us understand most advanced training and also marketing competencies. And actually, I had a very, very interesting experience. I was one of those who participated in sending a small video. What I think I can expect is an innovative content related to heritage, to sustainability, to tourism. And actually, we are working on all those issues, but I really think that exchanging opinions might be mutually beneficial. What are we doing as an association? I launched a project which I thought was especially interested for our Venetian villas. So we decided to organize the day of the Venetian villas. Actually, we organized that. So we organized a symposium, and we had the great pleasure and honor of welcoming our president, executive president, Alfonso Pallavicini. So we organized that last October, and it was really a beautiful experience. And not only because we managed to put in a network 60 villas. We had really very little time, almost no money. We were helped by the institute, the Regional Institute for Italian Villas. And actually what we wanted to introduce was a new idea. So, and the idea, well, actually, you might think it's very simple, but it was very effective. And it is that those Venetian villas can offer much, much, much more than what you can expect from something which is really a nice, beautiful monument. And so lively houses, as I was telling you, where every kind of experience, every sort of experience linked to the economic, to the cultural, to the agricultural world could be made. Wine tastings, a visit to the parks with a botanic expert. There were courses, for example, on tapestry, that was very interesting, on shoemaking, on fresco restoration, on so that was really very practical initiatives, and it was really a huge success, was because it was the first time we organized that sort of activity, and actually nobody knew what to expect from this activity, but actually we were really very successful, and it was just the very beginning. We are preparing for the next edition of this Giornata delle Ville Venete. And I would like to make this initiative known also at European level, at EHH level, because I think that it's absolutely, that it can be interesting also for other organizations. Extremely busy, really busy, because we want to work on sustainability, we want to work on aesthetics, we want to work on inclusiveness, we want to work on digital competencies. And when I say we want to work on this, is that we want to make our associates aware of the importance of all of these issues I just mentioned. Owners have to be stimulated sometimes. And I think that actually we found the right way to talk to them. My policy is a very simple one. And I started this way, and I'm still continuing, saying you have to start from small steps. It's absolutely useless to want to conquer the world and do the most extraordinary thing in the world. What you have to do is propose or act by small steps, one after the other, without stopping, without halting, and just going on. And I think that this policy, it was maybe the period, it was maybe because it was the pandemic time, but actually it proved to be very efficient. And I think I'm going to continue this way. What I'd like to explore, if I may, being part of the EHH, is actually the role of culture in sustainable development. I think that the two are really very strictly interconnected. And I think that culture can be really helpful in putting into place a strategic sustainability development. People come to practice a sort of slow, green and sustainable tourism. And actually our villas are absolutely perfect for that, because you can really live every kind of experience. You can tour on a bike, you can of course spend a night in a Venetian villa, you can have wine tasting experiences or food and what actually are craftsmanship, many things. So I think that considering that Venetian villas are culture, actually they can contribute, but in a very clear and strategic way, to a sustainable development. I would say, in a nutshell, that a Venetian villa is a tribute to Venetian art, history, craftsmanship, excellence, and beauty. What we want to do is to share these values with other organizations who are certainly willing or able to understand them. But also what we want is to share other organizations' heritage values. I think that's very important. And so that will be mutually beneficial. And actually, I really believe that unity is strength. So that's why I'm very proud, and my organization too, my association, to be part of the European Historic Houses, as I was saying, because of a mutual beneficial interest, and really we are just proud and eager to play an active role.